Welcome in. This is 300 Yards to Unknown. I'm Rick Gehman. That right there is Eric Patterson. EPAT, happy Players Week.
Happy Players Week. Yeah, this is the PGA Tour's crown jewel. Maybe gets a little overhyped, but still definitely a fun week. I think everyone can attest that this course is pretty sweet.
Does it get overhyped? I mean, I understand it's not a major. I understand that people think that 17 can be a little quirky, but it is the biggest prize purse. It gets a field, man. Like it's legit.
No, of course, yeah. It gets a field, it gets a purse, but I don't. It's just everything that goes on kind of behind the scenes. Did you hear? There was an interview with Nota Begay. He was actually on a Canadian TV show up here on one of our sports channels, and he said, as a Golf Channel employee, he didn't say this specific. Well, he said this: we're not supposed to talk about Augusta this week. So that's just like the type of stuff that bothers me, irks me a little bit. You know, when they do like the player introductions, they do like Sergio Garcia, 11-time PGA Tour winner, Players winner. Just like, obviously, they're not going to bring up the Masters or any of the other majors, but it's almost like every other tournament of its class is just completely ignored. So that's where, if they didn't try to be the biggest show in town, then I think I would appreciate it even more.
So you're saying if they just embrace the fact that this is like the 5th most important golf tournament, and also it's fun and you get a great field and it's the deep, like embrace that instead of trying to be the greatest show on turf.
Don't like, you know, pull the cover over our eyes and pretend the other ones don't exist. Just say this is the biggest PGA Tour run event. Like, own that. I'm cool with that, but I don't think we'll ever get to that.
No,
but enough, I guess, complaining. This is it's a fun event. The leaderboard's chaotic. The scores are chaotic. You never really know what you're going to get here. So it's living up to those expectations.
It certainly is. And, you know, we chat every week, and most of the time I come on here and complain about the broadcast and you try to talk me off the ledge and all that stuff. But I can actually say very positive things this week, because every shot live is exactly that. It is, dare I say, I mean, it is better. It is better than the Masters app, right? It's better.
It is. Yeah. You know, we were a little skeptical a couple of weeks ago when they announced the news, but I've been pleasantly surprised by how well it works. And if you notice, it's powered by IBM. So hat tip to them. They came up with the Masters app. Now they're obviously doing this until Amazon takes over. So it is a lot better than I initially thought it was going to be. So definitely a nice addition to this week.
Are you able to access it in Canada?
We are. Yeah, I didn't think we would be, but we can get it. It's not as like, the user experience isn't what I would expect to be. I can't just click all these screens and create my own little, you know, my 6-way screen. I gotta, like, you know, open a new window, re-sign in, drag a screen. It's not as intuitive as we want it to be, but one day there will be, I'm assuming, an option where you just go select, kind of build your own screen and then sit back and relax.
Right. I would agree that is certainly in the future. Comparing and contrasting to the Masters app is essentially, I would argue, so the Masters has multiple feeds. So you can do like Amen Corner, you can do like 15 and 16, you can do featured groups, you can do featured holes. So you can build kind of like your board there, but it is essentially an enhanced shot tracker. Like, you watch the shot tracker, and then a couple minutes later you click on that shot and you can see the uploaded video, which is kind of what I think I might have called this every shot almost live a couple of weeks ago, because that's what I was envisioning for this. But that's not it at all. You can literally follow any group that you want. Only the featured groups have commentary, which EPAT I'm completely fine with. Like, just the ambiance and no commentators is like, it's very soothing. It's very awesome.
It's like you said, and maybe we were wrong in assuming that it was going to be almost live, because we might be misremembering what actually was unfolding last year at the Players. There was a lot of other things going on. Yeah,
I don't remember anything from last year.
I was
chaotic, thinking about that. Yeah,
it was pretty chaotic. So maybe I just didn't fully consume what every shot live was then, but maybe they also improved it. But yeah, I mean, I tuned into like it's just so good for tracking the guys you want to watch. Like I was watching Mark Leishman last night trying to fight the sunlight, and then I think the broadcast was over and I was still able to watch his group play around. Like you said, no commentators, the birds just chirping. Like that is just you can hear some unique conversations between some of the guys. It's just a nice little, it's almost like you're not there, but it's as close to being there as you can. Like some of the best parts about going to these tournaments is just finding a random group and you're the only one there. You can hear their conversations, you see all their shots. So this is pretty much a replica of what that experience is like.
That to me, yes, the best part kind of being that they're not cutting to another group. So like you're while they're reading the greens, you're just watching and you're hearing things and you're hearing guys say, "Oh, I missed the face on that," or "This is a really," you're almost getting more information than just being like, "Oh, wow, he hit a really bad pitch there." But then you're like, "Oh, well, it was a really awkward spot. He hated the way he hit it. Like that's not what he was trying to do." Like it's just it really does add like 3 more layers to the viewing experience just because they're not as this is weird. I'm always like, bounce me around, show me as many shots as possible. But at the same time, you learn a lot when you are just sitting with one group.
Yeah, that's where I want the ability to have 4 groups fired up and going at the same time because there is a lot of downtime. And if you could just like click on and off the audio to like if they're lining up a putt, I'll go listen in on these guys like that. Perhaps that's coming, but it is tough to just kind of focus in on one group and just like lock in as they're walking down the fairway. There's obviously not a lot going on. Great second screen viewing experience, especially when they're not showing someone you might be tracking. I think this Friday with the cut coming, I think it's going to be even more beneficial when you're tracking a guy to make the cut or you got a 3-ball that's finishing up. I just think it goes hand in hand with the betting experience. So definitely a massive accomplishment. And I can't wait until this is at the Texas Open and I can watch every shot live at the most random event on the schedule.
That's how I was kind of using it, as what you were describing as a second screen experience. So I had like the featured groups up or whatever, and then essentially, muted, or I guess it didn't need to be muted because there's little audio or there's little commentary, with a bunch of other windows open of guys or groups that I wanted to track, which I thought was kind of the best way to do it. And, you mentioned, could this happen at other events? So like, okay, realistically, and I feel like I'm never good at, doing this exercise because I'm too into it. I would pay any amount of money for this. It's part of it's part of the business. It's part of the job. I would do whatever it takes for this. If this was available every single week, what could they realistically charge that people would pay for this?
That's a great question. I don't know if they want that. I have no idea. Let's look at this.
Okay,
Tour
so
Live, like $10 a month?
I was going to say, I think it's $10 a month, or you can get like the whole season for like $60. So it's pretty cheap compared to some of the other league passes, like the NFL, the NBA, all that good stuff. Obviously you kind of get less, and like league pass for NBA and NFL, you can choose any game you want, but it's pretty cheap compared to other organizations.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much I'd personally pay. I'd have to think about that. Like, I like the fact that I get it, for the all under one umbrella right now. Maybe they do like a rollout, like a marquee events, and then every event, maybe they have different pricing tiers. I don't know. There's probably some DGens out there that pay a lot of money to watch, a Thursday morning 3-ball go out. For me, that's might be overboard. I don't know if I could go there. Like, shot tracker is fine for, Thursday mornings when you got other things to do and you can't just be in front of a TV watching golf all day. But I would definitely consider, I don't know, maybe like $20 a week. It seems like a lot, but
okay. So I was going to say, I think they could charge $50 a month and they would get, so that would be,
they're in the same ballpark.
Yeah. So basically $50 a month, which would be, I think you would get a good crossover of, yes, the degenerates who would have paid $200 a month for this, or like the sickos like me, I'd pay any amount of money for it, versus the people who like just want to see more golf, just want to have access to it. It's not extremely cost prohibitive. So I bet you they could do $50 a month. The one thing I want to look into is, and maybe this is part of the data lake, EPAT, I want to be able to go watch all this later, right? So when Victor Hovland had that rules incident, I was able to go back and look at PGA Tour Live featured groups and just pull the video from it. I don't know if they're posting the group by group like archive anywhere.
I believe I haven't clicked it because I'm not dying to go replay a round that I've already, seen or know the score of. But I believe I have the opportunity to watch like whoever morning round from this morning was. I can go back and watch that right now if I really wanted to. I don't know where they're storing it, but right now on the Golf TV page, it's right there. Just you got to hit replay and away you go. So I'm pretty sure that's available to me in a week. I don't know where these are going to be stored, but right now I can do it.
Right. So that to me, I don't know why, but I would love that. Right. So imagine
I don't know why.
Imagine there's this data lake, right? So, or whatever they want to call it. But okay. So when we get to Valero Texas Open, I can go back and watch my guy at the Valero. Like, oh, let me do a little bit of research. Let me watch tape, right? I'm going to go back and watch last year, kind of remember what this course is like, how somebody might have played it. If I want to go back and look at a shot like that, that to me is, it's not just as important as the live stuff, obviously, but I think it would be a big part of it.
It is. That is good to go back and maybe like figure out how someone got to where they were, like watch like a 9-hole run and figure out how they, vaulted into contention or whatever. So yeah, I could see like the scouting report aspect from it for, for people like you and I who want to go remember things and not just look at the leaderboard and try and figure it out that way. So I'm sure that'll come, but right now, yeah. I think we're just going to be limited to this tournament only.
The only complaints I could imagine are that it's not available through Amazon Prime, which I think I've been on the record of being like, I have PGA Tour Live through Amazon Prime, and it is to me a better app, and I can cast it from the app than the NBC Sports Gold app. So that's where I get it. But Every Shot Live here is only available for NBC Sports Gold. So I paid for this month to get this, and I'm just going to cancel in 2 days. So I guess the complaint would be it's
that
not necessarily
make any sense to me.
It's not tied to PGA Tour Live. It's tied to NBC Sports.
Yeah, you have to sign up through. And I think that's going to change, obviously, with their recent partnership with Amazon, that they wouldn't overhaul this thing just to, have it on NBC when Amazon's putting all the work in and you can't watch it on Amazon Prime. So I would assume that's 2022, you'll be a happy customer finally.
This is the happiest I've been with streaming in a long time. So I'm a pretty happy customer right now. And then you mentioned it earlier. This to me, a lot of the moves that I think the tour is heading in the direction of, which is both data oriented and video oriented, are to capture this gambling fantasy demographic, right? I can't imagine there's a lot of people who are dying to see the Johnny Vegas, Taylor Gooch, Tom Lewis group who are not invested in that financially, right?
There's 3 families and a bunch of gamblers. That's
this will make families really happy.
Did you hear about Victor Hovland?
Yeah, his mom called him
after watching Every Shot Live. So I retweeted what it said. Hovland's mom calls in, says, "Vic, are you going to call yourself on that penalty?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" Anyways, 2-stroke penalty. And then I saw a tweet. It said, Patrick Reed's mom did this once, and Patrick never spoke to her again. So like, the fact that his mom called in on a rules infraction is fantastic. And even this morning, I woke up to a few tweets, and it was just Reed bent over, digging through his ball, and with twice on the same hole. Number one, bent over with his hand down in the dirt. Like, I can't believe it. This guy just loves the challenge.
The tweet that I saw was that screenshot, and it said, Patrick Reed touches the ball more than James Harden.
Oh yeah, and that was no laying up. His hand is on the ball every time he goes up to see what his lie is. Can't believe it.
NBC Sports cost Victor Hovland 2 shots. Okay, first of all, I don't think I've ever seen a guy move their mark in the same direction twice and like completely just zone on it. That's wild to me, isn't it? Because it would have been a pretty significantly different angle. I guess maybe in the heat of the moment, I don't
know what's going through his head, and his
brain cramped.
Yeah, that's a huge brain cramp. I was like, didn't John Rahm do that someone did that where they forgot to mark their ball, or they just picked up their ball without marking it.
It was Rom. I think he just picked it up, and then he was standing there holding the ball, and he was like,
what the hell did I just do?
There's
so
no
maybe it's a brain.
ground.
But like people are complaining about the rule, but I think that putting the ball back to where it was, you need to do that. You can't have guys just like Hovland could have taken like a couple of inches of break out of his putt, which is, I don't know.
Of course,
you can't have
it was clearly it can be simultaneously not malicious, and it can also be the right call, right? Like you have to finish, you have to hit your next shot from where your last one finished. And I know it was like a 3.5 footer and probably made zero difference, but yeah, you don't want to start getting into a situation where obviously that would not be not enforced, because you could move into a significant advantage. I don't think Victor did, but yeah, that would obviously be issues.
Hovland, he almost got screwed on a rules infraction earlier in the day, which, I mean, if you want to talk about contrasting rulings between what Hovland did and what Patrick Reed did, basically the rules official comes out, they didn't see where the ball landed, no one really saw where the ball landed. It bounced back into the water. On replay, it was very clear that it cleared the red line. Rules official comes out and pretty much says, well, because we're not sure, you have to go back, which is, Patrick Reed got the complete benefit of the doubt, saying, well, we don't know, so yeah, here's a free drop. Whereas for Hovland, they took the completely different approach. I just found that extremely bizarre, and just how can you have two completely different approaches for when there's gray area like that?
I think the rules officiating is so incredibly inconsistent. Even in the moment, right? It's why guys ask for second and third opinions, because they think another guy's going to come in and give a different ruling. And it happens somewhat often and then this one was bad with Hovland, because we're all watching it live on tape. We can see his ball cleared, and the guy on the radio. So the rules official at the hole didn't know. So he calls it in, which is already like getting a second opinion. And yeah, the guy says, oh, I don't know. I can't really see from this angle. It probably hit the bulkhead. And Victor Hovland was like,
definitely
I would find that very hard to believe if that was the case.
You would have heard it. It would have taken a completely different type of bounce.
And I mean, his caddy earned his money there, because his caddy was pretty much like, that's not possible. Like that, but it is a big problem with how all of this stuff is being done inconsistently. And how about this? I think this is all Patrick Cantlay's fault. Patrick Cantlay, Victor Hovland was like, guys, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm just going to drop it right here, blah, blah, blah. We think we saw it cross, all that good stuff. And Cantlay was like, well, let's be really sure about this. Why don't we just call it a rules official?
That's who did it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which has proven that calling in a rules official does not make the situation any clearer.
So
right?
Justin Thomas had comments about it. And like, I keep thinking about, obviously Reed and not really having strong. I think he was playing with two young guys that day when he was messing around in the dirt. So Justin Thomas came and said, that's just unfortunately how golf is, where if you don't know, if you're uncertain, you just have to take the worst situation for yourself. So like if JT was with Reed's at the Farmers Insurance, maybe JT steps in and says, listen, we don't know. So you got to take obviously you have to assume the worst. Maybe the rules official comes in and says, no, this is it. But just interesting that, JT can think that way. And then, whoever Reed was playing with just kind of let it slide.
It's weird.
I guess we didn't really talk about the little rules infraction by DeChambeau and his win at Bay Hill. But again, where you call in a rules official and you just kind of get your way. What Bryson did.
What was the Bryson thing?
So on the 16th hole at Bay Hill, he had like the sprinkler head in his line.
Oh, yes.
He just lied to the rules official of where he was going to putt the ball. And the rules official didn't even think about challenging him and say like obviously it was a huge right to left putt, because when Bryson puts his ball in play, he's aiming like 6 feet to the right. So just like, I found it, and like, I wish these rules officials, and maybe good on him, this official from yesterday for challenging Hovland a bit and saying, maybe if we don't know, so you got to go back. It would just be nice for these officials to push a little bit more instead of just kind of bending, bowing down to the players and just letting them do whatever they want.
not sometimes bending and not sometimes pushing
Definitely get
back
some
at random, but
consistency. Yeah.
get some consistency in our mix here. I forgot about the Bryson thing. Yeah.
It was
And I
minor,
also,
but
and if you know what to say and you know how to present your situation to a rules official, you can nudge them in the right direction.
yeah,
It's
there's a
evident.
master. One guy has mastered that art on tour, and we all know who.
They certainly have. RBC Canadian, not happening again this year.
Man, big
So
sad face over here.
sad
Brutal
Canadian
bounce.
EPAT.
It's
So
yeah.
they're
It
going to try
sucks
to
that
fill this spot.
they're gonna probably go back to Memorial, and it's gonna be another work day. I think they're gonna like that would be my guess. Why the Memorial was the week before the Canadian Open. So we went Memorial, Canadian Open, US Open. So they're probably just going to run back to back workday number 2.
Last year, the two events at Memorial were workday was first and then the Memorial, right?
Right.
So, right. I would imagine that's the easy one is that that spot. So it would be the Memorial. It would be the presuming workday charity open again or whatever.
That one gif where the guy's looking around the corner, just rubbing his hands together. Yeah, that's workday right now.
Yeah, and all the infrastructure and stuff would already be in place, so that makes the most sense. And then they go to Torrey the next week. So I imagine that's what's going to happen. Are there any other options? Have you heard any other rumblings about? I mean, that just makes too much sense to not do that.
People are pushing for a West Coast event, but I think they'll go to wherever there's fans too. Like if they can get a Florida event with fans or a Texas event with fans. I don't know what California's current fan status is, but probably not as good as Florida or Texas. So I think they're going to need fans. So
any chance that they I know they don't want to do this because it's like a bunch of dominoes, but like if you moved the Memorial back 1 week, you could stay in Texas after the Charles Schwab. But I guess they don't really care about going Texas, Ohio, Texas if they really wanted to do that.
I'm sure they've considered it. Yeah. I don't know if Jack wants, his tournament right before a US Open. I think
that's actually a better point. Yeah.
That's a big event. So I think they'll probably leave that and just squeeze in somewhere where they can, whoever can get the most money out of a tournament, they'll figure out a way to do it. But yeah. Canadian Open. I've been itching to go. I've been told I'm getting media credentials for the last 2 years and they just keep axing on at me. So I can't, I'm just waiting for that time to shine behind, in the press conference room, ask a few spicy questions. I'm just dying for my opportunity.
Yeah, you could ask something that that goes viral with the response. I can't wait for that. So I imagine in 2022 they'll probably just go to St. George's again, right? Like you don't lose it.
Yeah, they'll continue to push it back. I would assume there's no reason why they would change up the venue now. So it's gonna go there eventually. It just hopefully next year at this point.
So we've got a lot of these like one-off, like I think they're going to try to go back to Mexico, go back to Chapultepec for the WGC, and then probably try to go back to Canada again for the Canadian Open. So we'll see. The schedule's,
it's the only one that's probably going to get canceled this season, I would assume. Like even the Open Championship sounds ready to rock. So it's just Canada's being extremely tight with the border is what it is, and that's why they have the Canadian NHL team bubble right now. That's why the Raptors are playing in Tampa. We just don't travel right now. So that's just kind of got to play the cards you're dealt.
I would agree with that statement. The only other golf event that might be in jeopardy would be the Olympics, which I have not heard. Not that that's a PGA Tour event, but I've not heard anything about the Olympics recently. I remember there was like a couple of weeks ago, there was like, maybe it was like 2 months ago. They're like, it's not happening. Like everyone internally knows it's not happening. And then it seems like that cooled off for a bit. And I have not heard anything.
It's coming up, in a few months. So like
it's at the end of July.
Yeah. I can imagine being an Olympic athlete trying to train right now and not really knowing if you're going, but yeah, that's the other one that's still up in the air.
I saw one where they might limit. So competitors can come, but fans wouldn't, which would, Japan obviously wants the tourism. They want all of that, but I wonder if it's better to just have the Olympics than not have them at all. I don't know.
Aren't Olympics just massive losing money propositions anyways? So with no fans, you're just losing even more money. I don't know what you would do. That's a tough one. you can't keep delaying them. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know what the last Olympics was that turned a profit, if ever. It's if that's ever happened. It's just you just dump 50. I don't know. $1 billion,
whatever.
not billion,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
trillion, billion. It's a lot of cash, and you just never get it back.
Speaking of a lot of cash, Bryson's been stacking cash recently, and Bryson,
you're getting good at these transitions. That's a lot of experience coming from you. I was wondering how you're going to turn that one into a Bryson talk.
Some of them are a lot uglier than usual. I try to do it a lot, but so we haven't talked since Bryson took the line. He took on 6 at Bay Hill, and then also Bryson being Bryson kind of alerts the tour that he wants to cut off 18 at Sawgrass and go into 9 fairway, which would be reckless, I think, but certainly not out of his scope. And then of course the PGA Tour responds by creating an internal OB over there so that you can't go that route. So should Bryson just have kept his mouth shut and tried to do this, or like what's the deal here?
Yeah, he said yesterday, he's like, I probably shouldn't have said anything. I doubt he would have. Maybe I should stop doubting whatever Bryson says, but it seemed crazy to do it. Yeah, I would have. It's odd that, after everything that those drives on 6 did last week, it's odd that the tour would start trying to kind of limit Bryson's, antics on the course. Like, people want to see this. People are dying to see him do crazy things with the driver, and the fact that they're just putting in internal. Like, I'm on Team Bryson for this one, and I really am. Like, if he wants to hit it left, like, all you have to do is warn a few people, warn a group and the marshals that Bryson's on the tee. He might be coming over to the 9th green or the 9th fairway. So just have your eye ready. Like, that's all you have to do. He'd probably be the only one to do it. It just seems like they're missing out on a potential kind of viral moment that they captured last week. But yeah, for them to kind of limit them is strange in my opinion.
Yeah, the ratings were great last week. Massive. Right. I was trying to pull it up, but they were much better than Terrell Hatton's win the week before, and they were pretty significant. So yeah, I agree. You should not be stifling essentially what is your greatest draw at the moment. You should just be like, yeah, go over there, see what happens. Like, let's find out.
Imagine Bryson Sunday afternoon in 18th tee, and he needs to make a birdie, and he starts bombing one into the 9th fairway. Like, no one's on the course, so it would only really impact play for 2 days, right? Like, well, depending on when he's playing, I guess.
Yeah, but also
if he's in the late group.
You've been to a PGA Tour event. Balls are flying everywhere.
Yeah, they should hand out hard hats once, like on certain.
No one is safe at these events. That's my biggest takeaway. If you go watch live golf, you are not safe, especially at some of these older courses. These balls are going all over the place. For Bryson to hit one a day into an area that there are marshals and they're like, it's not, I don't think it's that big of it. It's certainly not a player safety issue.
I just wish, I wanted them to let it fly. We just saw what could happen last week. Let it build on the momentum. And so, yeah, he said yesterday, I should have kept my mouth shut after his round today. He comes out and says, it sounds like he has a few more up his sleeve of where he's potentially taken on some new paths. I don't really know, lines of play, maybe through trees, over trees, into other fairways, and he's keeping those close to the vest. He's not telling anyone moving forward. He's learned his lesson.
He certainly has. Dustin Johnson has not learned his lesson in regards to sandwiches. Did you see that? Okay, so it was Thursday at the Players. I don't know what hole it was, maybe 16. It was one of the par 5s. And his second shot, he hits into the water from the middle of the fairway. And he said the club slipped because he had sandwich juice on his fingers still.
Really? I saw that he went in the water. I didn't see the reason behind it. DJ and sandwiches is like the new trend. That's the Masters dinner. Now he's eating them in the middle of the round and getting his hands all greasy. I wonder what sandwich he went with.
He told that to Mark Immelman was with his group on Thursday, and he told him that after he hit that shot, he said he still had some sandwich juice on his fingers and it slipped. And then Mark told that on the telecast this morning, like the early cast. So that's the now sandwich juice is an issue for Dustin.
Just greasy fingers. Like what does he have? Like a meatball sandwich? Why is it just
what is
butter
he
and jam?
Yeah, what juice was he eating? A little pickle juice action?
I
Like
was
he
gonna
had
say
pickles on
pickle
it?
juice. I'm trying to think what's juicy. Yeah, pickle juice is probably the other one, but it's not really slippery. It's got to be something with some meat and some oil on it. So yeah, that's DJ
Yeah,
needs a new encore snack if it's causing him to hit
I
some in the
love him.
water.
He's
Yeah,
absolutely the
he's
best.
fist pumping. He's into this week. He was fist pumping yesterday. He's fist pumping today. So he's showing some emotion. It's probably helps with the fans there. He probably doesn't know how to fist pump when there's no one around.
Yeah, it's really awkward when there's no one around. Alrighty, Pat. What else? Anything of note?
Just maybe the highlight of my day yesterday was that the video that Poulter posted. I thought was just so relatable to, everyone who's goes out with their buddies, wants to have a good round, and they just get their ass kicked, and they're sitting around after drinking a beer, just like, what did we just do? So yeah. Rory just kind of rubbing his hair. Can't believe he just shot 78 or 77, whatever it was, and just I love the Euros from that standpoint. They're just don't take themselves too seriously, and that was worth a good laugh.
Yeah, the pan around the table where Rory's just like, "What did I just do?" and Hatton is like giggling. He's like, "Yeah, that like."
I think Hatton had the best day. He was 4 over. Stenson ran out of the shot. He didn't want to be caught on camera after his 85.
85. Yeah, 85. Rory shot a 79, I thought. Yeah, 79.
Yeah, 79.
Hatton shot a 76, and Poulter shot a 77. Rough day for that table.
Hatton won the 4 ball with a 4 over round, so he had a reason to be smiling. But yeah, that was good stuff out of yesterday. Yesterday was tough. Thursday was tough. It's good to see the tour beat these guys up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Stick it to them a little bit and make them earn it. Causing a little chaos at the Players Championship. Always a good thing. Eric Patterson, as usual, thank you very much. You can find his work on The Score. You can find his Quick 9. You can find him on Twitter at EPACGolf. And you can find me at RickRunGood. This has been 300 Yards Unknown. We'll catch you next time.